Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and we're a little bit later today as we were expecting patch notes for that balance patch that was promised to be coming before Worlds. And yes, we just had a balance patch. We have another one. This one sees multiple nerfs, multiple to Warrior, as well as one to Rainbow Mage, and a bunch of buffs. So a lot of cool stuff to go over. We could talk about whether I think it's too much, too little, all that stuff. You guys share your comments down below about how you're feeling about it. This is a data only patch, so nothing major that you'll have to download like as a big iOS update or Android update, or even on the PC. It shouldn't be too big. Should be going live around 10 a.m. Pacific, but lately it's been a little bit late, but it will go live today. And the dust refund should be live as well for like Madame Goya and all those other wild cards that got nerfed earlier this week. And if you enjoy the content on the channel, feel like I've earned your subscription, please hit that sub button down below. Give the video a like, it helps us out a ton. So taking a look at the dev comment that we got here to start things off, this is our balance patch for Worlds. We specifically requested this early balance window so that we can make changes that we think will make the coolest Worlds possible. I think Worlds is next weekend, but I'm not even entirely sure, so that should tell you how things are going in the esports world. It might be the last one ever, by the way. We don't know if there's going to be any esports next year. Overall, we think the meta is in a good spot, with most classes having something interesting to play, and most top decks having play patterns we're comfortable with. That lets us take a high confidence stepwise approach with this patch instead of making risky drastic changes. ENRAGE Warrior was the biggest standout. We wanted to adjust down, and we wanted to make SIF Mage a bit more attackable. We're also taking the opportunity to buff some underperforming archetypes, especially with new cards. Excavate as a whole got a lot of love with buffs to a treasure at each rarity, the neutral Burrow Buster, and a couple of low performance class Excavate cards. I'm assuming Warrior, right? We have another balance patch lined up for shortly after Worlds, where we'll be able to make more changes, including maybe some more adventurous buffs. We'll keep an eye on how the changes land, and we hope you'll join us for Worlds on December 16th and 17th, so I guess next weekend. So we're gonna get another balance patch before the holiday season starts, or early, like Christmas and all that. So that's the advantage of having an earlier expansion, is all this stuff. So that's pretty cool. I'm hoping it's more buffs unless like a big outlier pops up, because even in my like nerf suggestion video, I only wanted like ENRAGE Warrior and SIF Mage to get nudged, and I just mostly wanted buffs, right? And that's basically what we got. So the one Mage nerf is not to SIF. SIF still stays the exact same, but Inquisitive Creation, one of the other outliers, it just wipes like every board period, and it's slowed down a touch, right? It's going to 5 mana. It doesn't get any stat compensation, still has the exact same effect, can still wipe boards pretty easily. So yeah, look out for that nerf. It'll slow Mage down. SIF Rainbow Mage will absolutely be playable, and this card will still be in it. It's still an insanely good card, but at 4 it was just absolutely busted. Now it's just really, really good, and I don't think Mage will fall off too hard, but we'll have to wait and see. Next is Warrior. Warrior gets multiple nerfs. First, Thori Balor, which was one of the outliers I did mention in my video a little bit back, just goes to a 4/3, slightly more vulnerable, I guess, to dying. But for a rush minion that comes back, not a big deal. It would have been a bigger deal to be like a 3/4, but it's something. People really like this card, and it got buffed like, what, not multiple times, but it got buffed to like where it used to have like a summon limit. Now it's like unlimited. I think people want this card to be playable, and I think it still is. It just has slightly less health, harder to get, I guess, the Enrage in some situations where like you have it damaged and then buff it up. That'll be a bit trickier, but overall, I don't think it has a giant impact on this card. As again, rush minions that died you want to bring back, the health isn't super relevant in most situations, but obviously it is at a certain point. This is a much bigger nerf. Battle-Worn Faceless, we now have it at 3 mana. It was absolutely, completely broken at 2. Like, in no way should this probably come out at 2. At 3, it's still like Bloodsworn Mercenary, right? The 3/3 that could copy a friendly damage minion. This still could copy whatever. It could copy an enemy minion. all that, but let's say you're playing Grommash, the 8 mana charge minion. You can't copy that on 10 anymore. Most people already cut that for like just Crazed Wretched, but this makes it a lot less flexible. Big deal. This is absolutely a big deal for Enraged Warrior, making it a lot less flexible. This card, I don't think, at like 1 health, I don't think is as big a deal, but we all know mana changes are huge, and especially a deck like Enraged Warrior, which is all about efficiency and, you know, using their mana really well. I think it's very significant, so look out for that. That Rage Warrior should take a significant bow back, and it's the top deck basically across all ranks right now. It's just super strong, and I think it'll still be playable, but not nearly the powerhouse that it was. But that's it for nerfs. That's it for nerfs. Again, the cards listed above, plus the wild cards and like was it Fate Splitter, Monstrous Parrot, Counterfeit Blade, Dwarven Archaeologist, and Madame Goya will all get dust refunds, so you can disenchant those cards later today when this patch goes live. Just wait for the update to come to say that the cards have changed, all right? Don't disenchant for less. You don't want to do that. But we got buffs. We got buffs, and ooh, they took one of my buff suggestions. I'm so smart, I'm sure they didn't come up with it on their own. Sludge on wheels to get that barrel of sludge. Is now a 2/5, so 1/5 killed almost nothing. 2/5 might kill some stuff, so that's cool. You get your barrels of sludge, a little bit more offensive there, so I'm happy with that change. I would like to see my toxic archetype pay off a little bit better. We got Detonation Juggernaut, goes from a 5 mana 3/6 taunt to a 4 mana 3/4 taunt, trying to give Taunt Warrior some life in standard. I mean, that's a significant buff. That's the one of the cheapest +2/+2 buffs we've ever seen. There's the buff bot in Paladin, but you have to what do you have to you have to forge that to get it to on 3. That's 5 mana total. So this only hits top minions, but if you played Arena recently, this card's really good in Arena. So that might be a bit scary to see in the Arena. Warrior's already pretty good there. I don't know if it makes a difference in standard, but 1 mana cheaper to get +2/+2 can be really solid, and it curves into your like 5-drop taunts instead. So that could be really strong too. So look out, that could be relevant. Snake Eyes, I really wanted this to be a 3/4 or 2 mana. Instead, they're going for a 3 mana 2/4. So they take the suggestion again, kind of, I guess, I don't know, and they make it a 2/4, making it a little bit better stats. I still feel like, why not a 3/4? I don't know. It's pretty absurd. 3 mana 3/4 that generates 2 to 3 cards. Probably a bit silly, but I just really want like the Reno Demon Hunter to be a thing. It really hasn't been yet. I don't know if this makes a big difference at all, but I am glad to see the card get buffed. Demon Hunter also gets another buff with going down swinging to 4. This card has always been like fringe playable at 5, like not quite good enough. At 4, I think this card's nuts. Like 4, you can, with the 5 mana that you would have, you could just put in a hero power. It's 3 attack and then any other buffers. I could see this becoming a card, especially in Highlander Reno Demon Hunter. Very significant buff, and one I like to see. It's a pretty cool card. It feels bad that so many of those legendary spells from Festival Legends haven't seen much play, so maybe this will help elevate it. And some people even play this card as is at 5 mana, so I think 4 on this could be a huge change and could absolutely see play. Flint Firearm goes from a 3 mana 3/3 to a 2 mana 2/3, because we just talked about it yesterday, how Quick Draw has been kind of underwhelming, and Flint, like, it's too expensive. Maybe at 2 mana, you could combo it a bit more. Again, probably goes into more of the Reno deck strategies for some extra value, but at 2, yeah, you got a bit more flexibility, and if you're Rogue, you can Shadow Step this and play it for 0 the next turn, and then really pop off too. So Rogue can really utilize this probably better than anybody, because Shadow Step is a pretty broken card. So look out. Again, I don't think it'll make the cut still, but it's possible. Again, like I said, in Reno decks particularly. Blast Charge, again, another suggestion we made. I feel like it should be 1 mana, but it's 2 mana. At the very minimum, that's what I was hoping for, and glad Warrior gets at least a 2 mana execute with upside rather than just the 1 mana execute. The 3 mana version was just obscenely overcosted. We got Antique Flinger. Dude, did they take all my suggestions? Antique Flinger goes to a 3 mana 4/3 instead of a 4 mana 5/4, one of the more underperforming cards of the entire expansion. So we'll see how that goes. Still not 0 mana with Shadow Step, but 1 mana could be really good. Remove a minion, but at 4, it's just too slow, which is pretty crazy. So Rogue gets a little bit of some help. And Burrow Buster. This is actually like a playable Excavate card as is. And it's a 6/5 now, which is a pretty significant buff. That's pretty ridiculous. I thought this card was perfectly reasonable at 5 mana 6/4. But yeah, they buffed it by a health. And again, I picked this in Arena in non-Excavate classes as a 6/4, just because of 6/4 rush is good, and you get a card out of it. So now it seems insanely good, and we'll go into like any Excavate deck pretty much at all. They buffed some of the rewards. Escaping Trog is now a 1 mana 2/3. So that was actually one of the weaker ones to get, honestly, as your 1 mana card. So I like to see that change. It's just more in line with the other ones where you get like a 2-drop for 0 coins. I just feel like this is more in line with that. Canary is now a 2/2. I'll tell you, in Arena, when my opponents get this, it's nuts, but Arena is a lot more about minion-based combat, so it goes to a 2/2. Not a big change, but feels a little less bad to play it if you gotta like tempo it more or less, because it won't just die to like a ping or a dagger or whatever. So minor change, but it's something. And Steelhide Mole goes to a 3/7. So a little bit more of a threat when you play it, which is rather nice. So again, nice little buffs to those rewards, and that's it. Those are the buffs, those are the nerfs. I like it. More buffs than nerfs for the most part, and most of the nerfs are pretty minor outside of like, I guess the mech for Mage is significant, and definitely the Faceless for Warrior. But again, I don't think we needed big nerfs. Like I really didn't. And I feel like we need more buffs than anything. And the next patch will likely to see that. And there's some bug fixes of Discovery Magic will now always offer 3 options when played. If you've played enough spell schools with only 1 or 2 remaining, it will fill it with a random spell. So they buffed Discovery Magic too. That's just straight up a buff for the card. Fixed a bug where Kingpin Pud couldn't resurrect the entire Ogre Yang. Weird, I didn't know about that. Fixed a bug where if Reno Lone Ranger was played with hero powers, was played while hero powers were disabled, like Mindbreaker, his hero power would not update. They fixed a bug where Chaos Gazer's effect triggered at the end of turn instead of at the end of the opponent's turn, so wild players can rejoice on that one. Some battleground changes, and fixed a bug where some players received the Tailful and Bloodwatcher achievement upon login. That was me. So let me know what you think about all the changes. I think they're relatively good. Again, I don't think we needed major nerfs, and what they hit, basically they did everything I asked, so can I really complain, right? Besides Astalor getting nerfed, which I don't, that's more of a pet peeve. That just really is. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Patch should be should be live later today, so check it out. I'll be streaming on twitch.tv/Zeddy if you want to hang out later today. And if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.